Hello everybody, it is your friendly neighborhood Godzilla fan Jurassic Zilla here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about and explaining how DESTOROYAH can actually work in the Monsterverse. Without further ado, let's get right into the video, shall we? Just your friendly neighborhood Godzilla fan. I know you pronounce his name DESTOROYAH, but for the rest of the video, I'm just gonna call him Destroya because it's easier to say. And also, I'm not talking about this next movie. I'm talking about somewhere in the future of the Monsterverse, not the next Godzilla and Kong movie coming out, because personally, I think that might be Gigan instead of Destroya. So maybe like 3 movies in the future, he could appear. So let's first talk about his origin. As you know, in Godzilla vs. Destoroyah back in 1995, he was created by using the Oxygen Destroyer all the way back in 1954. Crab or lobster monster, something like that, basically got hit by it. He got mutated and turned into Destoroyah. So that's his origin. And we know in Godzilla King of the Monsters that they did use the Oxygen Destroyer, so that means that it's always possible for him to return. At least that's what I thought. I remember when I was watching Godzilla King of the Monsters in the movie theaters, and they showed the Oxygen Destroyer, and I was like, oh my gosh, Destroyer's gonna be in Godzilla vs. Kong, he's gonna be the villain. Turns out that wasn't the case. But that doesn't mean he can't ever show up. So first, how can you even explain this guy? Well, it's actually very, very simple. In Godzilla King of the Monsters, they used the Oxygen Destroyer to try to kill Godzilla. That Oxygen Destroyer somehow ended up mutating a crab or lobster, however they want to do it. So how are we even going to explain this guy? Well, it's actually very, very simple. All you have to say is, in Godzilla King of the Monsters, they used the Oxygen Destroyer to try to kill Godzilla. Somehow, it ended up mutating a crab or a lobster, however they want to do it. And then 3 movies later, into the Monsterverse, you have this guy appear out of nowhere. And then the humans are trying to figure out, where did this guy come from? And then maybe they get part of his DNA and find out that it's the same like molecules or something like that from the Oxygen Destroyer. I'm sure they can do some like scientific explanation, but it's simple as that. The Destroyer is not very complicated. He's not like Space Godzilla where you need Biolante, Mothra, and someone's dead daughter to go into space. Nothing too complicated. Just simple. He's mutated. So, it's a pretty easy origin to explain. But now, we gotta talk about how can you make this guy a very good villain. And I have the most perfect way to make Godzilla hate this guy. It's pretty simple. Destroya kills Anguirus. So you may be wondering, why would Destroya kill Anguirus? Anguirus isn't even in the Monsterverse yet. What I'm hoping that they're going to do is introduce Anguirus, possibly in Godzilla and Kong, or maybe one of the future movies, as Godzilla's best friend. Or at least one of his best friends, if we're not including Mothra. And who knows, maybe Godzilla and Kong become best friends. But have Godzilla and Anguirus be really good friends. They fight together, maybe Godzilla, Anguirus, and Kong all fight Gigan in this next movie. Something like that is something I really want. But all you gotta do is make them become best friends. And then Destroyer comes around and just kills Anguirus. It's as simple as that. Godzilla will be furious because not only did he kill one of the Titans, he killed one of his best friends. And the reason why it probably wouldn't work on something like Kong is because I don't know if they would kill Kong like that from Destroya. So something like Anguirus, who is simply, not one of the most famous kaiju, but also pretty up there, killing him would make Godzilla furious and actually give him a really good purpose to kill him. And I feel like the main purpose of Destroya would be, well, what we like to say, destroy all monsters. He comes in, he wants to be the king of the kaiju, maybe something like Ghidorah, but instead, you know how Ghidorah kind of just wanted to terraformed the planet into his own liking. He wasn't necessarily killing kaiju, he only did it if they stood in his way. But it's same with Godzilla as well. But for Destoroyah, he wants to destroy the planet and kill all of the kaiju. He wants to be the only guy left alive. So he's gonna specifically go out and kill as many things as he can, making him a huge threat, because if they don't take him down, no one will survive. So that's basically Destoroyah's master plan. But now, let's talk about how this movie would actually go. Rather, if it's a Godzilla vs. Destoroyah movie or a Destroy All Monsters movie. So first, let's say in 2024, Godzilla and Kong Origins, or whatever the movie title is going to be, that comes out. And they have an after credits scene of a little crustacean crab creature swimming in the water. And then people who are Godzilla fans will automatically know that, oh my god, it's Destoroyah. While other people might be like, what is that? Just a crab? Like, what is that? So I feel like that's a good way to set them up in an after credit scene by simply just having a little crab lobster thing floating and maybe like grows bigger or something. And the screen cuts to black. Perfect setup for the next movie. So now let's go into this movie. I feel like a good way to start it off, possibly Kong's in the Hollow Earth doing something. Godzilla's, celebrating after just defeating Gigan or whatever monster it's gonna be. And then the humans notice on their radar or something, in the water, there is a big object in the water. And they might think that it's Godzilla. But then they realize that Godzilla is on like a whole other part of the world or something like that. And then, instead of being one big creature, it's actually a whole bunch of little smaller creatures. Yes, that's right. As you know, in Godzilla vs. Destoroyah, Destoroyah first spawned in little mini forms of himself that he used to go and cause havoc. But there are so many of them that they kind of like destroy a whole town or even a whole city. And the people may think that, oh, this is a big threat, but it's not that big of a threat. I mean, we could easily kill these guys off. And maybe even Godzilla comes and kills some of them and like, oh, this is easy. I don't know where you guys came from, but you're easy to kill. So the little tiny Destoroyahs are going to be like, hey, this guy's killing all my brothers. Let me evolve real quick so I can get bigger and stronger. So then this guy gets bigger. They eventually fuse together to make the big bad Destoroyah. And then this is how the first fight could happen. You could have Godzilla, Kong, and possibly Anguirus all try to fight Destoroyah, thinking that, oh, they're easily going to take him down. But once they see that Destoroyah has evolved and they're going to see that he's huge, they're going to be like, oh no, this guy is like huge. He's going to be pretty hard to take down. But they decide to fight him anyways, and eventually find out Destoroyah is way stronger than all three of them combined. And since Anguirus would probably be one of the weakest ones out of the three, Anguirus, sadly, ends up dying to Destoroyah. Rather, if maybe Destoroyah just picks up Anguirus and drops him, something like that. So Godzilla and Kong are also defeated. They're not dead. Anguirus is dead. Godzilla and Kong are just defeated. They're knocked out. Destoroyah, thinking he won, decides to fly away and destroy other kaiju. Godzilla and Kong wake back up and they're like, wow, we just got defeated by this guy. He killed my best friend Anguirus. How are we gonna kill this guy? And that, my friends, is how you introduce Burning Godzilla. The humans go, they see that Godzilla is very low on energy. They remember all the way back in 2019 that they boosted him with a lot of energy and turned him into Burning Godzilla. So they might think that this is the only way we can defeat Destoroyah, is by turning Godzilla into Burning Godzilla. As you know, back in Godzilla vs. Destoroyah, Burning Godzilla was also like there. So it makes sense how Burning Godzilla would come back. Well, you might think, oh, Burning Godzilla is just going to disintegrate Destoroyah. But it's not going to happen this time. Finally, once Godzilla gets all of his energy and possibly other human stuff happen, you always gotta have human stuff. When Godzilla comes in, tries to defeat Destoroyah by himself with his burning mode because he thinks, he's in his burning mode, he's gonna kill him. And then he does his little nuclear blast, but it does nothing to Destoroyah. He doesn't even flinch at all. And Burning Godzilla is super surprised and worried and realizes he cannot do this on his own. So maybe Godzilla then does his alpha call to call other kaiju like maybe Kong, maybe Rodan, Mothra, Behemoth, Methuselah, or maybe what I would love to see, even Gamera. Perfect way to introduce Gamera coming in, Godzilla, Kong, and Gamera, maybe Rodan, Mothra, and some of them too, all versus Destroyah. And that's your Destroyah monsters. Destroyah is trying to destroy all of the monsters, and all of these Earth Kaiju have to work together to try and defeat this guy. Simple as that. So basically, to summarize this whole entire thing, in this new Godzilla & Kong Origins movie, you have an after-credits scene of a little crab swimming in the water, slowly getting mutated, and then in the next movie, after this new Godzilla & Kong Origins movie, you have little crustacean, little crab creatures coming ashore. The humans and Godzilla defeat them, thinking that, oh, they're easy to kill. This guy evolves into this big bad Destroyer dude, and then Godzilla, Kong, and Gears decide to fight Destroyer and then end up losing, and Gears dies in the process, leaving Godzilla and Kong frustrated at Destroyer, and then Destroyer then goes and tries to kill a whole bunch of other kaijus, and then Godzilla, Kong, Mothra, Rodan, and Gamera, and possibly other titans like Behemoth, Scylla, Methuselah, since Destroyer is trying to kill all kaiju. I wouldn't be surprised if all 17 and counting of the remaining kaiju all go up against Destroyer to fight him. They all fight. Obviously, you have some kaiju die, maybe like Methuselah, Scylla, Behemoth maybe dies. And then Godzilla gets burning mode and then sacrifices himself to kill Destroyer, dying in the process, but everyone's safe at the end. And that, my friends, is how you introduce Destroyer in the Monsterverse. Make him intimidating, make him strong, make him huge, make him fearsome. That's how you do it. For a kaiju like Destroyer, which is basically the Thanos of the Monsterverse and the big in-game battle, you gotta make him strong. Because something like Ghidorah, Godzilla was actually doing very well against Ghidorah in King of the Monsters, especially in that water battle. But you gotta make Destroyer where even if Destroyer fought Godzilla in the water, Destroyer would still win. That's how you do Destroyer in the Monsterverse. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video. I just wanted to let everyone know why Destroyer would work very well in the Monsterverse. And I know some of you may think, oh, you know, they should wait until the end of the Monsterverse to introduce him. And I'm like, yes, they should wait till the end. But you gotta think about it. If this new Godzilla & Kong movie doesn't do too good in the box office and possibly underperforms, they might not make any more Monsterverse movies after that one, since that movie didn't do well enough for them to make another one. So if that's the case, we may never see Destroyer in the Monsterverse. That's why if for some reason Destroyer is the main villain in this new Godzilla & Kong Origins movie, I wouldn't have a problem with it at all. And possibly having him in the movie would make them make more money to make more movies. Personally, I'm still hoping it's Gigan as the new villain in this Godzilla & Kong movie. I feel like he's a perfect fit of the in-between thing before you get like a big bad like Destroyer. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more. And as always, have a great Godzilla day.